Hello, everybody. It's time for a microbrew. It has been a hot minute since Curt Hogg has joined me here in the studio at Casa de Journal Sentinel. My name is JR Radcliffe, and again, that is Curt Hogg. He is the Brewers reporter for the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. We are here to discuss the Brewers making a free agent splash. They sign, well, reportedly anyway, Rhys Hoskins. He is the former first baseman for the Philadelphia Phillies. He did not play last year after tearing his ACL.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. to your ACL. He was awesome in the 2022 postseason. Actually, not like great numbers, but hit a whole ton of great home runs, including one very memorable one. And he'll be here on a 2-year, $32 million deal, according to Jeff Passan of ESPN. That is a player option for year 2 and opt-in, so it could just be 1 year and out. Could be 2 years. But the Milwaukee Brewers have made inarguably their biggest move of the offseason. Curt, can you tell me the last time the Brewers committed $32 million or more to an unrestricted free agent? Unrestricted's the wrong word. To it, just an,
I don't know if Avi Garcia's was it 3 years 30?
No, 2 years. 2 years.
It was only
20.
2 years on. Garcia got 3 years from the Marlins.
Yep.
I think that's what it was. Yeah.
And congratulations to him. That was a mistake.
That was a no-no.
2 years, $20 million for obviously
Lorenzo Cain.
That is correct. Lorenzo Cain, 5-year deal, $80 million. Before the 2018 season, the Brewers have only given, I think, 4 multi-year deals since then.
Jackie
before
Bradley
Rhys
Jr.
Hoskins, that's correct.
Colton Wong.
That's correct.
Avisail Garcia.
And who's number 4? This is the 5th since the Lorenzo Cain deal. This one's tough. This is a 3-year deal, but only for $9 million.
Josh Lindblom.
That's correct, Curt. I'm so proud of you. You're very good at this.
Welcome to the podcast where we know ball.
No ball. We can recall stupid facts. That's what makes us baseball people. So yes, the Brewers have signed Rhys Hoskins. He was, in my opinion, Curt, the best first baseman on the open market. He's not yet 31 years old. He will be.
Well, what do you call
March.
Cody Bellinger?
I guess I call him an outfielder.
An outfielder?
If you
Okay.
can play center field, I'm sorry, you're an outfielder.
Yeah,
I know
no,
you played first base.
I do agree. Like, I think if you're signing Cody Bellinger for, a lot of money, which Boris has the Cubs where he wants them right now, I would like that fellow to not be playing first base.
Yeah.
I'd like him to be playing center field. So okay, that's fair. Yeah, I agree with your take. Rhys Hoskins, best natural first baseman on the market.
Right-handed hitter, can hit for power, is going to have a good time against left-handed pitching. At American Family Field, where in 9 games he has an OPS of 1.2 or more. That's very good. I can't believe it, Curt. I can't believe they did it because this was a natural fit, I thought. I thought it was the perfect guy for them to go after between the price range, the depressed price range that comes with a torn ACL and a missed season. I couldn't have imagined a better fit for the Milwaukee Brewers, which is exactly why I didn't dream.
Which is exactly why we said this is not happening, because the two dolts that run this podcast said, you know what would make a lot of sense?
We never get this right. We never get this right.
Every time we try to predict moves, there's like a 5-minute caveat before of we will be wrong.
And frequently we are. We weren't wrong this time. So
no, that's right, baby. We were right. We called it, I guess.
I don't know where to start in terms of asking you what you think about it. I'm sure, well, I'm not sure, but I assume you are where I am, and like this was the perfect move for them to make. I would have loved to have seen them pair it with Mitch Garver, who I also thought was a very good possibility, but this is the one that I really thought they needed to do, and sure enough.
I want to start bigger picture. I actually wasn't so much into Mitch Garver because
you had numbers that I didn't trust.
Paying him to be a D. Yeah, well, it's okay. Hobbs knows ball too. You're paying him a lot to be a DH only, but we don't need to get into Mitch Garver right now. I want to start bigger picture here.
Okay.
I think there's been a lot of hand-wringing in Brewers circles in recent years, and I'm not saying it's not justified. They kind of basically ran back the same offense from 21 to 22.
And they got the same results.
They missed. They were actually a little better, but
Yeah,
they
I
missed playoffs, and you still can't tell me that offense was actually good. And then last offseason, William Contreras, great move, but no financial assets were used to bolster the offense, to bolster the team.
No, they stole him.
They stole him from the A's. Well, which is a weird way of going about it, but yes, they stole him from the Braves because of the A's.
It was a theft.
Very much a theft. But that didn't make their entire offseason like a win, even though they got a potential, future MVP for nothing. just because it felt like there were opportunities missed. And now you look at this team, and you remember, go back to the start of the offseason, right? There were all these reports of, well, the Brewers are going to blow it up. Ken Rosenthal in The Athletic, who's very plugged in around the league, was saying as much, and he's not going to say as much unless he's heard it from some sources he trusts. Mm-hmm. And now, instead of doing that, they've run it back with Adames. They've got Burns. They have not traded away from their big league club, really, except for, you can maybe argue Mark Canha, but I would much rather have the money going to Rhys Hoskins than Mark Canha. So I just think that, big picture, this is the exact type of offseason that the Brewers have needed to have for, the last 3 or so off seasons. And they're doing it in the face of, who knows exactly what 2025 and beyond holds. They've got a great farm system. Jackson Churriel will be up this year, Tyler Black, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. But you just don't know what it's gonna be without Adames, without Burns. No Woodruff. Devin Williams probably won't be here. So this is the exact move that the Brewers needed to make. If the contract doesn't work out, which there's some risk with it, there's that second year. If Rhys Hoskins sucks, he's going to be back for another year for 16, 17 million.
But he'll be 32, and if he has a bad year, you can almost suggest that he'll get better. And coming off an ACL.
Yes. I just don't think that you can complain about it if it's bad, if it doesn't work out, because this is the exact sort of process that the Brewers need to be processing, for lack of a better word. Mm-hmm. And they stole him from the Cubs, which is
always a win.
Huge.
Yes. The Cubs stole something from the Brewers, so all's fair that ends fair.
There is a question in the back of my mind of how much of this offseason is a bit of
we'll show you, Craig.
We'll show you, yeah. I mean, that did not sit well.
No, I'm aware.
With people.
Yeah.
That run the entire Milwaukee Brewers organization. Craig lost the community, and the Brewers gained Rhys Hoskins.
Yes, Craig no longer has a Nextdoor account at American Family Field. Do you, because you could see that both corners were question marks coming certainly to this point in the offseason. I mean, Jake Bauers and Andrew Monasterio were kind of the leaders in the clubhouse. You knew they wouldn't stop there, but now they have presumably a first baseman. Do they get a third baseman? I mean, do they go after? There's so many guys still out there. I mean, this has been such a late arriving offseason. Josh Hader just signed.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't rule it out.
Yeah,
I mean, their payroll is now at a number similar to where it's been the last couple of years, and I don't think now that you've solidified one of the corners with not just Don Solano, who I liked as an option, but he's not Rhys Hoskins. Now that you've solidified first base like a legit dude, you can be a little bit better, feel a little bit better about patching together third base if you have to. I still think they could use someone, and this is the sort of market where the Brewers can operate, where they can thrive. You can offer someone a 1-year deal, give them a little high average annual value relative to maybe what some other teams are offering.
Yeah.
Say, hey, you want to win? Come here. So,
Matt Chapman is still out there. Justin Turner is still out there. Gio Urshela, if you're into that sort of thing. Josh Donaldson, who of course was here. Evan Longoria and Eduardo Escobar are still out there. If you want, familiar sounding names, it's obviously not, bank breaking difference makers, but maybe that's the type of person you start the year with at third base, because Andrew Monasterio, for as quality as he was, I don't know if anybody's really. I don't want to say taking him seriously, because he really did contribute over what you would have expected. But I don't think teams that believe they're contenders have Andrew Monasterio at third base the whole season. And you don't know what to expect of Tyler Black. I don't know if he is a third baseman. He's not on the 40 man yet, so I don't even know for sure he's going to be here. As much as I'd love to see him right out of the gate. What do you think about those guys? What do you think about the third base situation?
Yeah, well, this signing certainly throws a wrinkle in the Tyler Black on opening day.
For sure it does, yeah.
Chances, it was already going to be tough because they had a left-handed hitting first baseman. And that would have been one of the biggest pros to bring Tyler Black on the roster. Mm-hmm. Now you've got another infielder in the mix. You kind of start to do the math. The guys that are out of options, like Owen Miller, I think is out of options.
And Jake
right?
Bauers.
Owen Miller's out of options? I believe so.
I believe he is.
I believe he's out of options, yeah.
Okay.
Which is weird. It feels like he was just called up the other day to the Guardians. But, Jake Bauer's out of options. Andrew Monasterio's probably going to be here. Almost certainly going to be on the roster. Bryce Harang's probably going to be. It starts to become tricky to see where it's going to fit. Now, of course, we do this every year. We spend time thinking about who's going to be on the opening day roster. And then Sal Frelick is hitting third, fifth in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And none of the other guys that were on the opening day roster are doing anything in the playoffs or down the stretch for that matter. So I still think Tyler Black's going to find a way to have a big
for sure.
A very big role on this team in some capacity. I mean, you didn't sound like you were alluding to tons of confidence in Andrew Monasterio there, JR.
I mean, I think he's going to be a contributor this year. I just don't know if that's the guy you want as your starting third baseman, is all I'm saying. No.
Yeah, how much better can it get than last year, maybe?
For sure.
Is the question.
And he has no power. I mean, it was like, bless the man. He had like 2 homers in like 3 games or something. He's just like, he's going to get you, in a best case scenario, 10 home runs over the course of a season.
It's a valuable utility profile to have.
Yeah.
Far more than we expected this time last year from him.
Yeah.
For him to be a legit big leaguer. But yeah, no, you're right. Another option at third base might make sense, but you kind of also look at the lineup a little bit now, and you're like, yeah, okay,
You could see it.
that works. If Jackson Churrio's on the open day roster, like he's hitting 6th, okay, or lower.
I do think this puts to rest the idea, because there was some conversation that they were still touching base with Carlos Santana, who was their first baseman after the trade deadline last year. There are still a lot of first base options out there. There's, Joey Votto, if you're into a guy who really probably isn't very good anymore, but it's still a lot of fun. It would be awesome.
Vibes, baby.
The vibes would be, oh my gosh, you cannot just transmit the vibes directly
How
into.
many first basemen do you want on this roster?
Well, obviously, I don't need more than one, but.
I already got 2.
But you do. But that's if you believe Jake Bauers is a a major league contributor. I mean, they wouldn't have traded for him presumably if they didn't think he might be.
Yeah, I think we're like giving him an open day roster spot
because
but
he has no
I
options.
do not think that's guaranteed.
I don't either.
You remember last year, Keston Hero went through arbitration without any options, and that's a fully guaranteed deal under the new CBA.
Are you asking if I remember Keston Hero? Because I do believe we discussed.
There, we did it. We did it.
We've crossed.
We
him
got
up.
Keston on this.
The year is
this
2029. Curt and JR are doing a podcast. Remember that second baseman? What was his name? He kind of was a second baseman, but kind of not. Maybe an outfielder.
You act as if I won't
Designated
remember
hitter?
his name.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna
I will
say
be
his name on every
specifically.
podcast.
I will specifically talking about July 2022 when he couldn't get.
He hasn't signed anywhere, Keston Hero.
No one signed anywhere.
That's true. Keston Hero is going to be back.
Blake
with the
Snell
Brewers.
is still a free agent.
Well, yes, but Blake Snell's a real free agent. I mean, and Matt Chapman is to some degree too. Like those guys are going to get paid, and it's just the teams don't want to pay right now. Cody Bellinger, same way. The teams are going to pay for those guys, but there will be. The Brewers do this every year. There will be bargain guys available. Like Jorge Soler is going to be available much later than he should be.
Yeah, that's a super interesting name. That would not. It would make a very real roster crunch for the Brewers.
It would.
But would make their offense a lot more fun.
Yeah, I mean, that's a guy who's probably a DH for the most part, too, and they really already have, they have that spot.
Someone's going to give him a real boy contract.
I think so.
I
think so.
Yeah.
But so many of these guys I thought would have been signed by now, Like, why are they not signed? Adam Duvall is a quality player who is going to end up signing a week or 2 into spring training. The same is going to be for Jock Peterson.
Do you want to know something about Adam Duvall?
Go ahead, tell me. What are you going to tell me?
Hobbs hates him.
You and Hobbs. Kurt, for those of you who don't know, Kurt invented a stat, which I don't mean to poo-poo. It's really
you're
interesting.
poo-pooing
I'm
it.
not poo-pooing it.
Yeah.
I'm not.
My daughter just learned that word, by the way.
Poo-poo?
Yep.
Oh, fantastic. That's a very difficult part of parenting.
She enunciates it differently, though, than you do.
I'm sure she does. I absolutely could never go back to that stage of life ever again. Will the Brewers sign a middle infielder? Because that's another area where there are some dudes available, including Whit Merrifield. Elvis
Yes.
Andrews.
So that's the spot where I'm like, I've been staring at second base all offseason. Like, I don't think you should go into this year with just Bryce Turang as the only option. Now, Andrew
Owen
Monasterio
Miller,
is sort of
too.
the option. Owen Miller's the other option,
Yeah.
too. But, Owen Miller's had what, 1,500 plate appearances by now. So like, I think sort of what sort of player he is, and if Bryce Terang doesn't work out entirely, like I don't know how high the upside is. Maybe that's the best way to put it. Yeah,
I get it.
It's certainly like a good floor like depth option, and he got really hot in May. But it sort of fits in the same moniker as like Andre Monasterio of, okay, this is like a guy, a fifth or sixth infielder. That's what they've played at for their careers. Now I'm not sure like how much more upside you're going to be able to get on the market, and maybe you end up just signing another Monasterio, another Owen Miller. That's why I thought like Isaiah Kiner-Falefa might make some sense.
Yeah, he went to Toronto.
Yeah, but he got a good deal out of
He got paid more than
multi years.
Yes, good for you, IKF. You did a good job. Yeah, if you look at the Brewers depth chart on their website, their official roster, these are guys on the 40-man, or well, I guess I'm not sure about all of them, but this is not what you want to see. First base is Jake Bauers, Owen Miller, and Jahmai Jones, who has never played first base, major or minor league.
About Jahmai Jones.
Well, he's never played first base. I don't know why he's under first base. To be honest, he's literally never done it in majors or minor in a game.
Yeah, he's a DH.
So there's your first base option. Second base, Bryce Terang, then Monasterio, Oliver Dunn, and Vinny Capra. I'm gonna be real
Vinny
honest with you.
Capra's on the 40-man roster.
I mean, he's on this one. Yeah, I'm going to be real honest, Curt. Where is Vinny Capra from? Where did they get him?
Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Where he is from?
No, I don't care where he's from.
I don't know. I'm going to say New Jersey.
Because his name is Vinny Capra? That's profiling, Curt. He is from Melbourne, Florida. So there. He went to Richmond, though, which is presumably that's the Richmond in Virginia. So that's a little closer to New Jersey. He is 5'8", 180. Relatable man. Oliver Dunn also is an interesting name.
What do you check in at nowadays? What's your official Brewers?
Well, 5'9".
5'8", 180.
180 would be amazing, Curt. I would love to tell you that I'm sitting at 180 with my 5'9", and well, it was previously 5'9 and a half, but the most recent doctor checkup had me even just a little below 5'9", so I've already begun the elderly
you're going
phase.
Down.
Yeah. Anyway,
Brutal.
Third base, Monasterio, Dunn, and Capra. Shortstop, Adames, Terang, Monasterio, Capra. Like they need guys here. You know, this is an unfinished product.
You can sort of tier together like six infielders, and I think actually one of the bigger questions for like the Brewers 2024 season, like the long-term outlook of the Brewers, questions to be answered from the 2024 season.
Yeah.
Number one is what is Jackson Chourio? Because the ceiling is so dang high.
Right.
Number two for me is what is Bryce Terang?
Because the ceiling does appear to be somewhat low here, offensively.
Yeah, because you don't have a shortstop going forward. You have some guys in the system that play shortstop. Sure, maybe Cooper Pratt's the guy. Maybe Eric Brown's the guy.
Yeah, these are very young people.
Who knows? Those guys haven't done anything above and like A-ball. Or in Cooper Pratt's case, like he's 18.
Yeah.
But Bryce Terang was kind of like viewed as that guy. He's the future shortstop. And the out of all the rookies that had their struggles on offense in 2023, Bryce Terang
Stood out by far the most just because like the quality of contact struggles, and all of a sudden he struck out way more than he ever had before. For prolonged stretches, it was him being overmatched. Mm-hmm. And so this is a huge question of like, okay, he's only, 23, 24 this year? He's like, there's still a lot of faith in him in the organization. There's still a chance he figures it out. He's young. Like his second year at AAA, he didn't spend the first year at AAA wasn't spending the full year there, but when he repeated that level, he had a really good year. So maybe it's sort of a similar situation. But if it's not, then it's a bit of a question of what you do. Like now you've got this big piece of your team, and who knows where you want to go with it. So that's a big question for me. He's sort of like at this point, Bryce Terang kind of fits in with like those other 5 or 6 or 7 infielder names, and there's not a guy there where you look at him and like, yeah, that guy could pop. Maybe, honestly, the guy that could pop is Oliver Dunn, and we probably just say that because we've never seen him in the big leagues before.
Yeah. And they could theoretically move Terang to shortstop next year if Willy Adames does not come back, which we assume he won't, and find a masher of a second baseman, and maybe take a little step back defensively, but get that offense somewhere else where they right now aren't getting it. But I don't know, and I think I don't think we'll have a lot more to say on this as the year transpires. But are we sure Terang can profile defensively as a really strong shortstop? He's pretty good.
The range is incredible.
Mm-hmm. But does he have the arm for this? Can he do it?
The nuances of the position are incredible.
Yeah.
But it's the arm. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And we'll see, because Willy Adames' strength is his arm.
Right. And also the fact that he can hit 20 home runs, or 25.
Yeah, the fact that Willie can have, a 90 WRC plus season that he just had and was still worth, 3-4 wins?
Just tremendous on both sides, for sure. I mean, tremendous defensively, and pretty solid offensively.
Yeah, which is why it was never a great idea to trade him this winter unless you're getting a bona fide haul, and that clearly wasn't going to happen.
At this point, we will assume that Adames and Corbin Burnes are staying put heading into their final year of free agency. They have not been traded, and now that the Brewers have added a piece, it seems like they are prepared to make a push toward heavy contention. The NL Central certainly is not full of powerhouses, so that makes some sense. I want to
Pirate slander.
The Pirates are making moves. Aroldis Chapman.
They are certainly making moves.
They are making moves.
That's what they're doing.
We will not assess the quality necessarily. I want to go back to some of the arbitration stuff, because the Brewers did settle this year. Speaking of Corbin Burnes, they did not have one of those disastrous conflicts between going to a hearing and having that end very poorly as it did last year with Corbin Burnes. Devin Williams was interesting, and you wrote about this. You wrote about how it looked like they were going to a hearing. He was the last guy for whom they settled on an arbitration thing, and they ended up doing something kind of unique. They gave him. They kind of bought out what's left of his arbitration. They gave him a 1-year deal and the option, right, for a second year, or no. I'm conflating some contracts here. Tell me what they did here.
Yeah, the Brewers gave him a $7 million deal. $7 million deal for.
Do you need to clear your throat, bud? Wow.
All right, I'll start over. I'm going to pay for this parking because I forgot to do that.
I'm leaving this in, by the way.
You should.
Okay. I probably won't, actually.
Yeah, what they did is they gave him a $7 million deal for this season and then a club option for next year, which is essentially no different than if he was arbitration eligible, which he was for his final year of team control. It's a club option, except they've basically already settled on the deal, on the terms.
Sure.
10-something million.
Little cost certainty out of it.
Yeah, there's a little bit of because Williams' camp, that $7 million number was important, and so the Brewers sort of go, okay, we'll give you around what you were asking for, give you that $7 million number, and then next year is probably, I would say 10. I don't know what, you probably could look at what Hader made in his final year of ARB. It was probably more than 10 something. Mm-hmm. But that's sort of what the trade-off is. There's maybe a little less on the club option for next year. And that may not even be the Brewers club option. But, yeah, the timeline of it is what's far more compelling to me than the actual deal. Players agree to multi-year deals in arbitration fairly regularly.
Hader, by the way, 6.675 in his.
How much was it?
6.675 in 2021. That was his last year with the Brewers.
And then what did he make?
22. Sorry.
What did he make in 23? That would have been his last year of ARB.
14 with the Padres.
Although Hader might have been a Super 2. So what was his?
He was indeed a Super 2.
What was his 22 then? That would have
7.01.
Okay, so Josh Hader's ARB was kind of wonky and messed up, or maybe he did agree.
You know what? I'm reading this wrong. I'm reading this. This is split between the Brewers and the Padres. It wouldn't make sense that he'd go from 6.6 to 7.0.
Yeah.
7.0 was what the Brewers paid.
Oh, okay.
Another 4 that San Diego paid. So it's 11.
Okay, so yeah, it is a little less.
Almost 11.
So Williams would be making a little less next year than what Hader made.
Yeah.
In exchange for a little more up front. Okay. So, but what's more interesting though is the timeline of it. The sides were pretty far apart in terms of arbitration speak, and not only pretty far apart, but not a ton of movement on either end. This happens with a lot of teams, is arbitration numbers nowadays they're kind of rigid, based on
Right.
For on the team side, for sure, based on not only past precedent, but all these algorithms and whatever calculations that the front office has that says this is what your value in arbitration is. And they're not going to go super far up from that.
And if I can interject,
Yep.
there's kind of a league-wide thing that goes on with that too, where I think there's pressure that teams keep those salaries tamped down as much as possible because it impacts other people.
Yeah.
We saw that this year because Zach Gallen got just a smidge more, I believe, than what Corbin Burns got last year. So even though that doesn't affect the Brewers, and frustratingly contributes to the Brewers making a decision that no one likes.
It's the systematic issue of arbitration. The Brewers weren't so much keeping Corbin Burns' salary down last year to suppress Corbin Burns from what, like 700,000,
Yeah.
as much as they were suppressing future Corbin Burnses,
Like Zach Gallen.
yeah, for whatever the money is.
It's not a good system.
It's a bad system, but like I don't think teams will get rid of it because in most cases the teams are the ones with the leverage. Because no player wants to go to an arbitration hearing and sit there and hear what the team has to say. Now the teams can say all they want that like, yeah, it's a bad system and we don't like, having to go to arbitration and say yada yada about the player. And sure, they probably don't. The GMs probably don't like deep down having to pay a lawyer to blame Corbin Burns for the reason they missed the playoffs. Like they probably don't enjoy it when Corbin Burns goes to the media and bashes them for that. It's probably not fun for them. However, they know that the players don't want to go even more. And very few cases end up like Burns did last year, where it's a high-profile player who's won an award, who's been a stud for the team, and then goes and lashes out to the media about what was said. That just doesn't happen a ton, but it did happen to the Brewers, and that's why in the Devin Williams case,
They wanted to.
I think the Brewers were the ones that needed to avoid this, and Devin Williams and his agents were sort of the ones with a bit of a like they were just in a decent position because I don't know if you know Devin.
I do,
but he doesn't want to go to arbitration. No one wants to go to arbitration. But part of the reason that he's so successful as a baseball player is because how do I put this? Because he knows he's the best.
Yeah.
And he prepares like that. He trains like that. He goes out on the mound like that. Like he's fiery. And that's not a guy that a year after Corbin Burns ripped the entire organization after arbitration. That's not the guy I would want to take to arbitration. So I think in the end, that sides had already exchanged numbers, and a lot of the times for the Brewers, it's file and trial. If an agreement's not met by the deadline, which was like 7 p.m. on that Friday, they'll just go to ARB. Like the deadline gives the team leverage. That doesn't help the player out. They want to the player wants to negotiate after the deadline, which you can. But the teams, that deadline gives them a chance to, like, say, here's a number, take it or go to ARB, and it works out for them. But in this case, it's very enlightening, in my opinion, that the Brewers still negotiated. They struck a deal that was kind of favorable to Williams, at least for 2024. So,
yeah. So everybody now is under contract. There will be no arbitration fights this season, and we're getting closer. I mean, it's already what, a week away from February. We're gonna have spring training baseball in 3 weeks. That's crazy to me. But
games in like 29 days, I think.
And obviously there will be some roster moves, I have to think, that are still going to be made, and a lot of young guys who are going to be vying for playing time. I was just looking at the depth chart here. Joey Wiemer, I think mistakenly, is not on it, but I'm also like, what are they going to do with Joey Wiemer? What are they going to do with all these guys in the outfield this year? Is Garrett Mitchell going to be healthy? There's so much stuff I still am thinking about, want to talk about. And we can touch on any other Brewers subjects in a second, but I want to also mention some sort of on a very newsy day for Wisconsin sports, like Adrian Griffin got fired as Bucks head coach, and the Brewers signed Rhys Hoskins. Somewhere in there, Ryan Braun was named to the Walk of Fame. Number 8 will be I think he's the 23rd player inducted into the Brewers Walk of Fame. This is, again, separate from the Wall of Honor, which is sort of a bigger, more names in that one that sort of acknowledge everybody who's contributed a great deal. The Walk of Fame is for the best of the best, and Ryan Braun, I don't think anybody doubted, would be on that list. I was hoping.
When does Todd Rosiak get on the Wall of Honor?
Todd Rosiak is already on the Wall of Honor in spirit. I mean, right?
This man
And Hogg
is the 2023
That's right.
Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year.
Todd Rosiak.
Unbelievable. We took 30 minutes, 40 minutes to get to that.
Todd, I love you, but I know you're not listening. You do not care that we waited 30 minutes to mention your
Well,
triumph.
we put the respect on his name there.
That's right. That's right. Very exciting for him. That's actually really cool. He should be on the Wall of Honor. He won't be because they have a thing about making it only players or something. I don't know. Anyway, Ryan Braun. There isn't much to say. It was obvious he was gonna make this list. I think there is still a conversation about whether or not this franchise retires his number. The longer we go, the more I think. Maybe not, because I think they can almost justify it on numbers alone. That you could almost get away with. I don't know. I still think he would be a prime candidate to have his number retired, if not for the performance enhancing drugs scandal. But I'm curious to kind of see how this goes, especially in light of that issue. You know, he's come back a few times.
There's been a weird precedent set by the number retiring,
in that they don't do it a lot, or what?
Just it's in the way in the past by the Brewers, because it was. I mean, are you in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, but they retired a couple guys' numbers before they went into the Hall of Fame.
Which were like, when did Fingers get retired?
1994.
When did he go in the Hall of Fame?
I think later that year, but I don't think it had been voted upon yet. I don't remember which guy. Maybe
But
it was
clear.
Yount.
It was
They were definitely going.
It was
Yes,
clear Raleigh Fingers was going to be a Hall of Famer. Hank Aaron, I think, makes a lot of sense because of the Brewers ties.
Yes.
Or the Braves ties, I should say.
But Raleigh Fingers was only here 3 seasons. Like that, ultimately, I think is a mistake. If we're
TBHing, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm going to call for reform on the Brewers' retired numbers. Erase them all and start from scratch. Also, Bob Uecker's up there for 50 years in baseball. This dude is at like 70 years now.
I know he's going to be 90.
We gotta update that.
I like that.
We're shortchanging the most iconic Milwaukee baseball figure.
Our guy Bob Uecker turns 90 years old in 2 days.
So that's like
in
almost 70 years.
That's right. Yeah, he's going to turn 90 years old in 2 days.
We're shortchanging him.
You know, I don't. I mean, people.
Also, does Bud? Why does Bud Selig have a number retired? Why does Bud Selig have a?
I guess it's not a number retired. He's just up there, and it says number 1, right?
He brought. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. He brought the
I
franchise.
think it says number 1, but number 1's not.
Before we talk a little more about Braun, are you aware that, I mean, Rhys Hoskins wears number 17. He's worn it his whole career.
Oh, we're having this discourse.
17 is not retired by the Milwaukee Brewers.
Give it to Rhys Hoskins, please.
It was possessed by Jim Gantner for the 17 seasons that Jim Gantner was with the Milwaukee Brewers, but it has never been issued since. It's a unofficial retirement. This is the type of thing that doesn't really matter, but it's fun to talk about or think about. Like, will they or won't they give him number 17? I agree with you. I think they're probably going to. But
I don't care so much about retired numbers and the fact that like no one will wear this number again. Whatever.
Who cares?
I truly.
It's just an
couldn't care less
acknowledgement of the
if-
player's greatness.
Yeah, if someone on the Brewers wore 19, but it's just a way to plaster them up on the
Right.
wall. Jim Gantner, they can unofficially retire his number 17, but I do not think he should have his number retired.
No.
I'm
Well,
firmly in that camp.
Offensively, he was well below average, and he's a delight. He's great. He hangs around the team. He's a delightful person. I've talked to him many times. I really enjoy him. He was a decent to above average second baseman. He never made an all-star team, and that wasn't even in dispute. Like, he was not an all-star type player. He should not have his number retired, other than he's beloved here because he's from Wisconsin. He was here 17 years and played on some very good teams with some very good players. That's all.
It is kind of fun to look back at like old baseball and think about something like that. That would never happen nowadays.
He would not have played 17 years. He'd have been out of baseball.
Not 17 years and not 17 years with one team.
No, for sure not. You're absolutely right. He would have bounced around. He would have been like, I mean, Brett Phillips is a good example, who is also a delight, and has bounced around because he's got a couple good skills, a decent skill set. He's not a quality overall
Jim
offensive
Gantner
player.
is still a much better hitter than Brett Phillips.
Oh gosh, I didn't mean to give you a stray bullet there, Brett Phillips. But yeah, that's probably true. He's not a good hitter, but he can play good defense. He can play a mean defense.
And he has a walk-off single. Series was that?
Yes, he did. That's Brett Phillips.
Goated.
Jim Gantner, of course, scored from second base on Cecil Cooper's big hit in Game 5 of the
Cecil
ALCS.
Cooper number retired, yes or no?
I have maintained, my theory on this is, if you retire Cecil Cooper's number the same time you retire Ryan Braun's, you can get away with retiring Ryan Braun's and skipping some of the griminess of the PED stuff. You can just have it be a day about both of them. It mitigates it a little bit. Cecil Cooper could absolutely be up there with those guys.
Yeah.
Not a Hall of Famer, of course.
Cecil Cooper has not. I feel like Cecil Cooper's number should be retired.
I agree.
He's not gotten his flowers.
I agree.
In that department.
I'm with you. We love Cecil Cooper.
And also, if we're going to retire, if the standard is Hall of Fame baseball players that played for the Brewers,
Ted Simmons.
Ted Simmons,
who played just as many years as
not
Raleigh
even
Fingers did.
He's not even in the Walk of Fame, JR.
Yes, he is. Is he not?
Ted Simmons, no.
No, he's not.
No,
We
he was
voted on
on
him.
the ballot this
That's
year.
right.
Again, I voted for him.
Yeah, and Mike Caldwell, I voted for you too.
Shout out Mike
and
Caldwell.
We'll continue to vote for Mike
He should
Caldwell.
be on the. Yes, no matter what you're like, if you're a big walk or a small walk guy, like
Yeah, those guys are
Mike
important.
Caldwell should be on the Walk of Fame.
What a
I
baller.
think even more than Ted Simmons. You could argue.
What a baller he is. I agree with you. I would rank him ahead of Ted Simmons. And I think Bamberger needs to be on there. For people who don't know him, he ruled. And they named teams after him, Bambi's Bombers.
We need to, yes, that is a good criterion.
Did you rule?
Did you rule?
Bamberger ruled. Caldwell ruled.
When I have a Hall of Fame vote in X amount of years,
Yeah.
that's like number 2 on my list.
Did you rule?
What was your peak? And 2, did you rule?
So Adrian Beltre, Joe Mauer, who else just went in? Oh, Todd Helton.
Todd Helton ruled.
I would argue no. I would argue that none of those guys ruled. I would argue that Gary Sheffield ruled, and even though he's not a popular,
yes, Gary Sheffield should. Yeah, I would vote for him.
he should have been voted in, and not. I know he's not the most popular in Milwaukee, but he ruled, man. Okay, so I don't know if there's more to say about Braun. It'll be cool to have him back. He's been back before. This isn't going to be a totally novel thing. I think it will open up the discussion about whether or not they do retire his number. I truly don't know. Flip a coin if that's ever going to happen. I don't know.
Ryan Braun is back.
Ryan Braun is back. Walk of Famer. Anything else, Curt? There have been some developments, I would say. Eric Haase, backup catcher, if you're into that sort of thing.
Do you want to talk about international prospects?
Do we want to talk about international prospects?
Wow, okay.
They're going to, if they
You brought up Eric Haas.
I did, but Eric Haase or Haas or whatever is going to contribute to the 2024 Brewers. The international prospects might contribute in 7 years. I'm going to be dead, Curt. I can't talk about players that are contributing after my death.
I have no comment.
I know you don't. We can talk about them. Was there anything exciting about that? I know you covered that pretty well. Freddie Peralta's cousin?
No, Jorge Quintana's really good.
Okay.
The more I
like
watch of him, their top signee.
Yeah.
He's very good.
What position? Tell me about him.
Shortstop.
Okay.
Switch hitter.
I like it.
Very fluid swing.
And is he 14? Or how old are we talking here?
Well, 16.
I thought you were going to say 12, and I believed you.
You can't sign it. You can't sign under 16.
Okay, that's good to know.
Although I did see, this is independent of Jorge Quintana.
Okay.
But I did see a report from Hector Gomez, who does a lot of international reporting in the Dominican sphere, specifically with
Former
baseball.
Brewer Hector Gomez? No.
No, unfortunately not. Although, can I do a Hector Gomez story real quick?
I can't stop you.
It's fun to collect the random jerseys.
Yes.
I have a number 42
Okay.
Jackie Robinson Day Brewers jersey.
Okay.
I'm like, I wonder who wore this. It was Hector Gomez.
Hector Gomez. Shouts to you.
So, anyway, the other Hector Gomez, the non-baseball player, had a report that teams have been Xing deals because they find out that guys are up to 6 years older than they say they are.
Wow.
In the
That's
Dominican?
incredible.
I have no really details beyond that, like which teams, which players. But yeah, it's the whole international signing system is
Weird.
It's not great. This system is not great, but it is what it is. And it doesn't seem like it's going to change a whole lot, unfortunately. So this is sort of just what we have to deal with. And in that system, Jorge Quintana is a good baseball player.
Okay.
And he's someone that will probably be stateside next year.
Okay, well, that's great. I'm looking forward to seeing Yofiri Rodriguez, who was a recent signing. Yep, stateside this year. That's going to be exciting because I think he could be really, really special. I know I'm getting excited after poo-pooing the idea of being excited about 16-year-old prospects. I'm now telling you that one guy who's 19 is going to be awesome, just like
He's like 17.
He's 17, whatever. The 19-year-old is actually on the big league team this year. So what do I know? Maybe it is going to be before I die that they contribute. One last thing, the Brewers are really excited about this Dominican Republic complex.
Oh, so you do want to talk about Dominican baseball? All right.
I mean, it's a story that we wrote, so I am curious, based on what you know about this,
the TLDR version of what people might want to know. Like, how does this? How do you think this is going to benefit what their mission is?
Yes. Well, first off, it could potentially help in the signing of some players. You offer them. I mean, these are 16-year-old kids. This is no different than like recruiting, and you bring them over and like, here's our. College football coaches love to talk about facilities, and it's so funny to me that like it's just such a focus, and they talk about it as if it is important. It must be important, all right? They talk about it so much, but it's just like facilities, and that's sort of what it is. Like like, hey, check it out. We got this awesome facility. You're basically going to live here, spend all your time here. Go to school here essentially. So yeah, it's kind of like that, and also like Oregon recruiting players on uniforms ? Like these are the things that matter to
16-year-old kids.
Now also money plays a big factor in this as well.
Yes,
but like the acquisition of players, it might assist in, and then the hope is that just like giving them a really nice living condition with better weight training facilities and like more fields to play baseball in, as simple as that sounds, and like an agility field and better batting cages, like it all will just assist in player development, and it'll kind of have a snowball effect in that way. It's just like the devotion of more resources to the international game is an avenue where the Brewers have improved on significantly in the last 4 or so years, and it's not a coincidence that their farm system has shot up from being bad in like 18-19 to where it is now.
Yeah.
So
all right.
Yeah, we'll see at the end of the day. Like, you got to go scout players really well and get the best players in, and coach them really well. But like offering better conditions and like better nutrition and whatnot for young baseball players at the start of their careers could be an advantage.
For sure.
Could be an advantage.
All right, Curt. Any last thoughts here before we go? I think we'll save some. We'll do another round of predictions. We'll do them.
Yeah, we
closer to
got
spring training.
we got some fire coming.
Yeah, Hobie Milner All-Star ? That's my starting point. We'll see. Where
Only
we go
up from there.
Only up
Baseline.
No, I'm serious about Hobie Milner.
I'm gonna hold you to that.
I am serious about him. Okay. I think he could be an all-star. But we're gonna save the good ones, the firecrackers. The Jesse Winker will be the best offensive player on the 2023 Brewers.
I'm gonna add a second caveat to our system.
Okay.
Now, I'm gonna say something, and then I'm 1 to 10. How much I truly believe it.
Oh, I see. I see.
It's accountability that First Take needs.
Yeah, I love it. We should just set it up that way. Like, okay, what's your 10? What, like, have a 10, an 8, a 5, and a 2.
Jesse Winker was my 10.
That's tough. That's tough. Oh,
the sad truth is things that we say on here we believe.
We will have more of that. We're gonna get closer to spring training.
I'm not chasing clicks.
When are you going to? Are you going to spring training in February? Or are you going closer to like in March?
Todd's got the first 3 weeks,
awesome.
And I go down at the beginning of March.
That's Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year, Todd Rosiak. You can find everything.
Sorry, I forgot to.
You can find everything he has, everything Curt Hogg has. That's at the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, jsonline.com, and we will be back with you again. Maybe as soon as they sign Matt Chapman, or any high profile free agent the way they did with Rhys Hoskins. We'll have to do this again. Maybe a little shorter next time. But thanks for tuning in, everybody, to this edition of Micro Brew. We hope the winter is treating you well, and we will see you a little bit closer to opening day. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.